The New Orleans Saints travel to Cleveland this week to face the Browns. Saints a 6.5-point favorite on BETDAQ. 48 is the total in this game. Who do you like? Let me guess. You like New Orleans minus 6.5. Everybody likes New Orleans minus 6.5. Nearly 90% of the money, the 6 largest Las Vegas sportsbooks, has been rolling in on the New Orleans Saints this week. And it's easy to see why. I mean, it's tough to make a case for Cleveland here. The Saints, after all, one of the NFL's best teams, at least heading into this season, most people thought they were going to be one of the NFL's best teams. Last year, they were the only team in the league to rank in the top 4 in both total offense and total defense. Last week against the Atlanta Falcons in a 37-34 loss, they certainly still looked like they had one of the best offenses in the NFL. That offense went up and down the field on the Atlanta defense. Now, New Orleans did not play well defensively, but you look at their opponent this week, Cleveland. I mean, what do the Browns have on offense? They're just devoid of skill position talent. Their best player, of course, Josh Gordon, still suspended. Their starting running back, Ben Tate, injured, will not play in this game. Their starting quarterback, Brian Hoyer, a journeyman who's been a backup throughout most of his career. So is this no-name Cleveland Browns offense going to be able to keep pace with the New Orleans Saints offense in a game that both teams badly need? I mean, both these teams 0-1. The Saints don't want to start 0-2. They badly need this game. So the answer to that question, of course, is no. Nearly everybody who follows NFL football thinks no. The New Orleans Saints are going to win this game, and they're most likely going to win it by more than 6.5 points. I mean, we know the Saints are better at home than they are on the road, and this game outdoors in Cleveland, but still, this is the Saints and the Browns. Well, let me tell you, if that's the way you feel, then there's only one thing to believe. You believe that odds makers have made a terrible mistake this week, and they are going to get crushed. Because, as we said, the public has been all over the New Orleans Saints, and I have not seen any sportsbook anywhere in the world that has taken this line over 7, that has moved this line over 7. So this line staying below 7 everywhere, yet the public heavily on one side. I don't know about you. Listen, I've been around sports betting long enough. That really, really scares me. Now, I'm not sure if it's going to scare me enough to actually make me bet on the Cleveland Browns, because I like to also have a couple of logical reasons to go behind my thinking if I'm actually going to put some money down on these things. I like for something more concrete than just, well, the public's all on one side, so I think I'm going to bet on the other side. And really, that's just about all we're going on here if we like Cleveland. Now, I've been looking for more concrete things. The best I can come up with is this. You look at this New Orleans Saints team over the past few years, the Sean Payton, Drew Brees, New Orleans Saints, they've been great. But every season it seems like once or twice a year they get really surprised by a team that's projected to be much worse than them, by a team you think the Saints are much better than. And most of the times that team fits a certain mold. They're a physical, run-first type team that really pushes around the New Orleans defense, crams the ball right down their throat, and plays physical defense on the other side. Bumps the New Orleans wide receivers who have mostly been undersized through the years. You get my drift. I'm sure you can picture what I'm talking about, because it has happened to the Saints team a few times through the years. You look at the Cleveland Browns team, what is the strength of this offense? Their offensive line. They have an excellent offensive line, even though they've got a couple of no-name running backs back there right now, guys like Terrence West, Isaiah Crowell. There is a chance that this Cleveland offensive line is going to take the fight right to that New Orleans defense. Remember last season, even though the Saints were good defensively, run defense was their weakness. So you could see a scenario where the Browns really ran it right at the New Orleans Saints, kept Drew Brees and that offense off the field as much as possible. The Browns do have a good defense, especially in the front 7. Mike Pettin, their new coach, of course, a defensive guy. So could we see a scenario where Drew Brees isn't able to be on the field as much as he would like, and he's maybe frustrated a little bit by that Cleveland defense, and the New Orleans offense not able to stop the New Orleans defense not able to stop the Cleveland running game? I guess it's possible. I mean, that's the best I've got for you in terms of laying out a scenario where the Browns could win this game or stay within 6.5. But you know what? I would rather go with that rather far-fetched type scenario than go with 90% of the public. Because let me tell you what, in sports betting, the public is not always right. That is just not the way it works. Generally, odds makers sort of know what they're doing, You know, you very rarely see such a mistake where you have such an obvious instance like this where the line is not moved to compensate for that mistake and the books still end up losing. I do not think that's going to happen here. So if I'm going to bet this game, I do recommend Cleveland plus 6.5. And if you're going to bet on the Browns, you might not want to watch the game. That's my friendly advice.